Here we go. Here we go. Saying that video game movies are ill received is an understatement, at least prior to, the Sonic movies, of course. All we ever knew as both Mario and film fanatics was the 1993 film, which was, well, it was something, right? However, it seems that Hollywood has found a way, or at least an approach, when it comes to video game stories translated over to TV or film, as we've seen with The Last of Us, for example. And the Super Mario Bros. Movie from Illumination is not an exception. Of course, I went into the movie with the eyes of a kid, someone whose only experience with Mario is with games from the past 5 years or so. And I wasn't disappointed because, of course, this is a children's movie through and through. Everything from the pacing to the story, just in general, it is catered to children, and we must see this movie for what it is, a children's movie. But, however, my biggest takeaways from this movie are the voice acting. The voice acting is something that I was highly critical of way before we even got a look at Chris Pratt as Mario, or even had to listen to Jack Black as Bowser. However, I want to say that I was kind of surprised that the voice acting wasn't really that bad. Peach was the best out of the bunch. Anya Taylor was one of the best actresses in the whole movie. I mean, her range is amazing. Her delivery is great. It made me feel like this is what Peach is supposed to sound like. She was great. She was one of the best ones, including Bowser. Bowser was also one of the better ones, but there were some issues with the character as well as Donkey Kong that I want to talk about a little bit further into the video. But yes, so far I was pretty lightly amazed and surprised with the voice acting. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. Mario wasn't as jarring as I expected him to be. However, DK and Cranky Kong were, to me, in my opinion, some of the worst voice acting I have ever heard in an animated movie. Bowser and Donkey Kong were probably some weird decisions made by the Illumination and by Nintendo team. Bowser, in essence, turned into a Jack Black character. Not saying that's entirely bad, but at the same time, like, you could definitely tell that this was Jack Black's development, character development through and through, as well as Donkey Kong. Now, this is a spoiler-free review. I'm trying to keep it as spoiler-free as I can, but I will say that my biggest disappointment with Donkey Kong was that it was not so much a Donkey Kong character as it was a Seth Rogen character. But whatever. Besides that character, I could say that the voice acting was pretty well, and for the most part, the Illumination team and the Nintendo team did a pretty good job at translating what these characters are supposed to be in the games into a film sense. The whole gag of them using the cliche Italian accents in the opening commercials and like the trailers and some of the promos, and then getting, away from that, I think was a really good decision. It made the film a lot more digestible. It didn't make it that gimmicky, and of course it wasn't as problematic as I thought it was going to be. So still, I think they made a good choice of them going through the Brooklyn way of characterizing Mario and Luigi. And I think that the movie did a great job at setting up that sort of background, because of course, there's not only so much origin story you can give Mario and Luigi as a whole, and especially Peach and just the Mushroom Kingdom, everything from the characters to the environments. There's not a lot to explain, because even in the video games, there's not a lot there to explain. There's just a princess, there's a Mushroom Kingdom, and there's mushroom people, and apparently the savior of them all is a plumber from Brooklyn. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but again, I'm glad that at least there was an effort in that sense to make the characters a little bit more relatable and a little bit more unique in a sense from the video games without being too gimmicky. The Easter eggs and references, as a longtime Mario fan, were incredible. Like, if you go to this movie as a Mario fan, someone who's been playing the games from the 80s, since the 90s, even since the 2000s, This is an Easter egg galore, and no pun intended. That's as far as I'm gonna say, okay? I don't want to go too much into the Easter egg stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I caught as a longtime fan were just, it was like a Where's Waldo picture painting, you know, of you looking in the background and you seeing like certain words, certain elements that you get from games, and not just Mario games, but like Nintendo games as a whole. I'm not trying to spoil some stuff, but you know, really minor things like a poster in the background, like the name of a building or whatever. Stuff like that really made me feel like a kid again, like I was on a treasure hunt. Catching all these little Easter eggs made the whole experience of this movie just so much better. But again, even if you're not a longtime Mario fan and you don't know the things from like the 80s, for example, there's still a lot of fairly recent and modern Easter eggs in the movie for you to catch, like parts of it from, for example, Mario Kart. So there's something for everyone in this movie. I think this is a very fairly balanced movie. It's a very good balance between satisfying longtime old nerds such as myself, of course, and of course newcomers such as children. I mean, the movie is entirely catered to children, and everything from the pacing, which is extremely fast and is both a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because, of course, this is for children. This is to keep children engaged in the movie. But at the same time is a bad thing because there aren't a lot of beats. There's not a lot of character development for some of the characters. And even if there are certain parts where there is a little bit of character development between, for example, two different characters like Donkey Kong and Mario, they get skipped over pretty fast because they're just trying to get you to the next scene, to the next issue, to the next character introduction. That's why I think it's a little bit bad. But at the same time, I still have to look at this through the eyes of a kid, of a child, someone who's sitting there and like, oh my god, that's Mario. Oh my god, that's Donkey Kong. Oh my god, I play these guys in Mario Kart or wherever. So yeah, again, it has a good balance of both for both types of fans. Right off the bat, this is one of the prettiest animated films I've seen lately. And I don't know if this is because I've been far removed from children animated movies. You know, I don't actively go to the theater to watch children's movies. I watch them once they come to the streaming services, but it's not like when I was a kid and I was watching Shrek, I was watching Toy Story, that sort of stuff. I don't watch animated movies in theaters as much as I do anymore. Most of the stuff that I watch are Marvel movies or more serious stuff like The Whale, for example. Stuff that's really engaging and more so live action. So that's why I might think that I might be biased in saying that this is one of the prettier animated movies that I've seen in a very long time. But again, like stuff such as the lighting, it made everything look so pretty, so smooth. The animation, the rigging, characters' movements, it was just so well animated and so charming to look at. It is just a very, very beautiful film. And everything from the details in both characters and the environments are so incredibly thought out and just beautiful, just pretty. Like stuff such as Mario and Luigi's mustaches, just how detailed that is. Strands of hair, reflections, the sky, the night sky in the Mushroom Kingdom, the textures in some of these mushrooms, big mushrooms in the world, the textures in the characters' clothing. Just a lot of care and thought went into how these characters and environments are made to look. And this is just something amazing. And I'm glad that Illumination took care into making this a good video game movie. You know, they actually looked at the details and they put a lot of care and attention to how these things translate from a video game to a film, because a film is going to try and emulate a little more realistic, a little bit more high fidelity graphics. But at the same time, during the movie, I was wishing that we get games that look this good, at least as far as the cutscenes, because it is just such a beautiful, beautiful movie. It is very well made. A lot of detail, a lot of attention and care went into the actual production of this film. Not so much the writing, but again, you can't have it all. it's a children's movie. The plot is pretty paper thin, but still there were a lot of beats during the movie that I came out of left field that I wasn't expecting, that I actually found myself surprised to look at. So at least the action is there. Another thing I really wish we didn't get for this movie, I wish we didn't get so many trailers prior to release. I just feel that given the amount of material that was shown during the trailers, it didn't leave a lot to expectations, it didn't leave a lot to imaginations what we were going to see in the movie. I would hope that they would have left the, for example, the Rainbow Road trailer, because I think that the way that they transitioned from where they are prior to the Rainbow Road would have been an amazing experience had we not known that there is a section of them riding in carts from the trailers. The build-up was amazing. The transition towards that area was amazing. The actual battle that starts in that Rainbow Road as well is amazing, and I think that that would have been a great climax to reach if they hadn't teased it in the trailers, because everybody was expecting it. Everybody knew as soon as carts were mentioned, oh, here comes the Rainbow Road. So going forward, I hope that with future projects that Nintendo has, because I'm sure this isn't the last Mario movie we're going to see. Spoiler alert, there's some mid and end credit scenes, so stick around for those. There's two. I'm sure this isn't the last project that they're going to work on with Illumination. And I just hope that they leave a lot more up to imagination. Just let people watch the movie. Just let people experience that for the first time in a theater, if that's the way you're going forward. It just really cheapens the shot. It makes it weaker, and I kind of wish they didn't do that. So besides that, I think the Mario movie did something great for the future of Nintendo. I think Nintendo really cemented itself as a film producer in general, as a film studio. Not entirely sure what their whole direction is going forward with these projects, but I hope that this is basically the start of a cinematic universe, much like Marvel has, but a little bit more, I'm guessing, not as big as the scope, but I still would love to keep seeing Mario in theaters. I think it translates very well, and I hope they explore other IPs in the big screen, and if not the big screen, at least streaming services, because I'll be the first one to say I think The Legend of Zelda would be a great candidate to have an animated series on streaming services in the style of an anime, whatever it may be, except live action. I just don't want any live action from Nintendo. But yeah, I think the Mario movie did what it had to do. I think if they would have shown us less prior to the movie releasing, I think it would have been a way better movie, a more impactful movie. But still, it is a pretty good enough movie. The reviews, the critic reviews, they got it right. It's an okay movie. It's pretty mid, I'm not gonna lie. But again, the audience score as well, I think they might be hyping it up a little bit too much, but still, it is an enjoyable watch. I think it did what it had to do, and I think, again, it cemented Nintendo as having something that's really concrete and something that can actually be built into a larger universe, and I hope that becomes true. But folks, you let me know what you thought about the movie down in the comments below. Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? What were your favorite parts? Of course, if you haven't seen the movie, don't go to the comments. You're probably going to see some spoilers. But I do recommend this movie. I think that everybody should go watch it. Even if you're just a gaming fan, I think you're going to have a lot of good times. And especially if you're a Mario fan, a longtime Mario fan, you're going to enjoy it. It's a kid's movie, so go with that expectation. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, because believe it or not, every single bit helps. Links to my socials are down below. Please make sure to follow me on Twitter, where I spend most of my waking hours and where I'm probably going to be talking about this movie for the next 2 weeks or so. Also, make sure to join our Discord server where we talk anything and everything gaming, anime, TVs, movies, anything that might interest you as my viewer. I'm going to be talking about this also on my Search and Report podcast next week. So make sure to follow the podcast over on Spotify, anywhere where you might listen to podcasts. We're probably on there. Our logo is a Game Boy with the word Search and Report on top of it. I can assure you we're the only gaming podcast with the name of Search and Report. But folks, I've been True Fernie. Please take care of each other, but most importantly, take care of yourself. Let's go, and don't recast Donkey Kong, okay? Please just recast Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong. Why not? Let's just do it. But shout out to Kamek. That was one of the best performances out there, as well as Princess Peach. So, all right, bye.